Hi, I'm Paul Keoghan from Gktuition, and in this video I want to talk to you about financial maths. Now the question that I've chosen to go through here is 2018 Paper 1 Question 1. In the first part of this question, we're told that Emer earns €40,000 gross tax from her job. And we're told that the lower rate of tax is 20%, her standard rate cut-off point is 35,300. And that she has to pay 40% on the remainder. We're told she has a tax credit of 1,650 and we're asked to calculate how much income tax she actually has to pay. So it's really important in this question that you understand the difference between gross, the word gross, and the word net. So her gross wage is 40,000. That means that the company she works for, they pay 40,000 to employ Emer. But Emer doesn't get to keep all the 40,000. Gross refers to the amount before deductions. So the company pay Emer 40,000, but she has to pay tax on that, which goes to the government. She might have to pay into a pension on that, which goes into another account. She might have to pay PRSI or USC. Basically, there's loads of different deductions. So gross, you don't physically receive your gross income. You receive what's called your net income. Net income refers to the amount of money you actually get into your bank account. So we need to work out how much tax Emer has to pay to the government. And the figures given to us, we can work it out. She earns 40,000, and I know that on the first €35,300 that she earns, she pays 20% tax. So the first thing you do is you find out what is 20% of 35,300. When you plug that into your calculator, you realise that that's €7,060. Now, on the remainder, she has to pay the higher rate of tax, which is 40%. Which obviously means the first thing you need to do is work out what the remainder is. She has already paid tax on the first €35,300 that she's earned. She's earned 40,000 in total. So if I take my 40,000 and I subtract 35,300, that tells me the remainder is 4,700. She also has to pay tax on the 4,700 above, that's in excess of the standard rate cut-off point. €4,700, the higher amount of her income is charged at 40%. So we need to get 40% of 4,700, that gives me 1,880. To make sure you're right there, always make sure that these two numbers add up to the gross. 35,300 and this have to add up to 40,000. She's going to pay 7,060 on this much on the first 35,300, 1,880 on the remaining 4,700. And what we want to do then is add those two figures together. If you add these two figures together, you get €8,940. But that is her gross tax. Gross, remember, is the amount before deductions. You don't actually pay all of your tax because the government gives everyone a tax credit. We've been told that Emer's tax credit is €1,650. In other words, she doesn't have to pay €1,650 of her tax. So what we need to do is we have our gross tax, we subtract the tax credit, and when you subtract it you get 7,290. And that refers to the net tax, where net tax is the amount of tax she actually has to pay. So your final answer for this question, the amount of income tax she's going to pay is €7,290. Now let's move on, and we need to use this figure to work out the next part of the question. In part B, we're told that Emer also pays €1,500 in health insurance. Notice it says €1,500 net. Net is the amount she actually has to pay. So she pays €1,500. So, and we're asked to work out what is her net annual income, how much money does she actually receive after she's paid her tax and after she's paid her health insurance. So she's paid 40 grand originally, but she has to pay 7,290 in tax and 1,500 in health insurance. So she's left with €31,210. Okay, in the third part of this question, we're told that Emer is offered another job with a different company. And that company is going to offer her 38,000 as a gross wage. But they're going to cover the €1,500 health insurance, so she doesn't have to pay for health insurance. And we're asked to calculate, we're told that all of her tax rates stay the same. So she still has to pay 20% on the first 35,300. She still pays 40% on the remainder, and she still has the same tax credit. We're asked to figure out how much more money she gets into her hand if she changes job to company B. So obviously the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out how much tax she would have to pay if she earns 38,000 but she has the same tax rates as part A of this question. So basically the first thing we're going to do here, it's almost identical to part A, except instead of a 40,000 we're doing it for 38,000. So based on the fact that if she takes the job with company B, she'll earn 38 grand, this is how I calculate her net tax. It's still 20% of the first 35,300 is 7,060. If she pays 20% on this much, we have to figure out how much is remaining. So 38,000 minus 35,300 gives me 2,700 euro. So I know that on the remaining 2,700 euro, she pays 40% tax, or that's what she's charged at the higher rate. So that adds up to 1,080 euro. Again, remember always the 35,300 and the 2,700 have to add up to 38,000. Ultimately, when I add these two taxes together, I get 8,140, and that is my gross tax. That's Emer's gross tax with company B. Her tax credit has stayed the same, so we subtract 1,650, and that means that if she takes this new job, her net tax is 6,490 euro. Once I know her net tax, I can figure out what her take-home pay is. Because obviously her take-home pay, the company pays her 38,000, but how much money she's actually going to get is 38,000 minus her tax. So let's work that out now, and we can figure out the difference between if she works for company B or if she works for company A. Okay, so if Emer takes the job at company B, they're going to pay her 38,000. And the amount of tax she's going to have to pay is 6,490. And she doesn't have to pay for health insurance because the company cover that. So that's a cost that's completely eliminated. If she takes company B, that means the amount of money she actually receives is 31,510. That's the amount of money that actually goes into her bank account or into her pocket. Remember that in part C, we worked out that if she works for company A, they pay her 40,000, but she has to pay 7,290 in tax, and then she also has to pay 1,500 for health insurance, which means she'd only be left with 31,210 euro in her bank account or in her pocket. So even though company B are paying her less money, less gross, she would actually end up with more money. And that's the point of this question. This question was, what will the pay increase be? How much more money will she receive? So clearly if I just subtract the amount she receives from company B minus the amount she'd get if she worked for company A, it works out as 300 euro. So if she takes this new job offer, her net, the amount of money she actually receives increases by 300 euro. I hope all of this makes sense. If you're unsure of any of that, or you want me to explain it differently, just let me know, or send me an email or let me know in class, and I'll do it differently.